I wanted to share a story I heard inside of my shop not all that long ago. I've got a little business here in town, and a lot of people like to come by and talk about different things. Some people like to talk about politics, some people like to talk about religion, all kinds of topics. Well, I've been able to hear a lot of fascinating stories, and I thought a couple of them were worth sharing. The first one was by this lady. She came in my shop, and we were talking about how sometimes you'll work real hard at something, and you'll end up you won't make any money, and it seems like it always balances out somewhere down the line. You might get one real easy job at one point, and then another hard one will come along, or vice versa. And I was telling her some things that have happened to me where I lost out big time, and then something else came along, and she had a story of her own. And basically what she told me was that she had been working at one point for an elderly woman that was kind of losing her marbles. She was working as her caretaker, and I guess she'd been working there a good part of a week, and the old gal she was working for asked her what she owed her at that point. She says, "Well, it's $180 at this point." And the old gal looked at her and she says, "No, it's just $6." Well, rather than get upset about it, the gal told me she decided just to go ahead and finish the day and to be pleasant about it and just to let go and just give it to God, not worry about it. Well, surprisingly, she said later, I think she said within about a week's time, she gets an unexpected letter from a former client that liked her, that just out of the blue decided to send her a check for $180 for no reason at all. And I thought that was a fascinating story. I've had similar things like that happen to me, but I've heard so many stories like that. Some people call them synchronous events, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's evidence that there is a God. He doesn't kind of oversee some of our affairs. I can't tell you that things always go well in my own life, or that there haven't been times where my life hasn't really sucked, but um, I've had enough of these cool things happen like this that I think there is something to it. Another story I heard, I found this one rather fascinating. A gentleman came in my shop who was a manager of one of the grocery stores in town, or one of the managers, anyways, and he was really bitter. I hadn't seen him in quite a while, and he looked really unhappy. And I asked him what was going on, and he said that his wife had cheated on him, and she was planning on divorcing him. And I guess he kind of felt like his life was falling apart. And anyway, we had a little short business encounter there, and didn't see him for about a year. So a year later, comes in my shop again. This time he's looking really happy. I said, "So, what's going on with you? Why do you look so happy now?" And he says, "Well, I met a really nice gal, and we're planning on getting married, and I've been going to church." And that surprised me to hear him say that, because I don't remember him being religious in any way. And so I asked him what prompted him to start going to church, and he said it came about after he got in a serious car accident. Apparently his car took a roll, and when it finally quit rolling, he looked to his right side to see if his daughter was okay, and she wasn't even in the car. And he freaked out, and he jumped out of the car, and he found her sitting on the grass a few feet away. And he immediately asked her if she was okay, and she said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Jesus came and picked me up and put me on the grass." Well, as soon as he told me that, I thought, oh, well, he probably been priming his daughter to think this way, and her little imagination got carried away there. And I said, "You've been going to church, right? I mean, you've kind of been prompting your daughter to think this way." And he says, "No, I wasn't going to church. We weren't really churchgoers." So I found that story really interesting. In fact, I got to meet his daughter. I think it was about, I don't know, a month or two later. And I asked her to tell me the story because I just wanted to hear it from her own lips. And she looked at me with a real serious look on her face. She didn't look like a little girl lost in La La Land. She says, "Yeah, Jesus came and picked me up and put me on the grass." Well, I have to tell you, there was something really convincing about this little gal. And, if ever there was a case for an experience somebody told me involving Jesus, I think she'd be one I'd be inclined to believe. It's sort of hard to prove that sort of thing. But again, if you've had enough synchronous events occur in your life where you see sometimes things work out just a little bit too perfect to be by accident. Not always. I mean, I've had the opposite happen too. Where things couldn't go worse, and So again, I suspect things happen for a reason, even when they seem like they're bad. There's probably something good brewing down the line, hopefully. Anyway, I just wanted to share those stories. I'm always talking about negative things. I thought I'd throw something inspirational in there, so thanks for listening.